All right, welcome AP Calc. Let's do this. So this is continuing the chain rule day one, right? So this is lesson 17. Here, what does it feel like, or how can we use the chain rule when it comes to basic, the basic trig rules when it comes to taking derivatives? So the same idea kind of holds. Remember, let's have, have our blue, red, and your other writing utensil, okay? So let's take a look at the first one here. Here we have y is equal to 4 sine of x. So let's set it up. What will be considered our outside and what will be considered our inside? So here we have y equals, here the outside over here will be sine parentheses, and on the inside it will be this 4x, okay? And you see in the original there weren't parentheses, but you have to get used to it that anytime you have a trig function, there is, some invisible parentheses here. Okay, so here, this is our outside and this is our inside. So what do we need to do? We need to take the derivative of the outside. So here, dy dx is equal to, well, what's the derivative of sine? That's a cosine of 4x. Then we just take the derivative of the inside. So here, the derivative of 4x, right? We got to take the derivative of that. So that's cosine of 4x times 4. And then once we get to this point, all we need to do is just put this 4 over here. So we have 4 cosine 4x, right? Because this 4 is multiplying to the cosine of x. There's that invisible multiplication here. A lot of invisible stuff going on in math, right? Okay, so that's dy dx. Not too bad. Let's try and do the next one. Take your time. Looking at how we did number 1, I want you to set up number 2. Pause the video, okay? All right, so here, y equals, all right, how does it go? We have sine parentheses. That'll be our outside. The negative 8x will be on the inside. Here, dy dx. Derivative of sine is cosine. Negative 8x, and then we got to take the derivative of negative 8x, right? Okay, so cosine of negative 8x times, what's the derivative of negative 8x? It's just negative 8, and then the same move we did, let me fix the camera angle, my bad. The same move we did over here, right? Where we multiply the 4 over here, we just multiply the negative 8. So this is just negative 8 cosine of negative 8x, right? You don't need to have this multiplication symbol here, but I just have it there sometimes just so you guys could clearly see. All right, try and do the next one, right? Don't wait for me to do everything, all right? Try and do 3 and 4, okay? Here for 3, what's the setup? This is y equals cosine parentheses, that's our outside, 5x is on the inside, then we take dy dx. What's the derivative of cosine? It's negative sine of 5x times the derivative of 5x. Okay, so this is negative sine 5x times 5, and then this just becomes 5 times the negative, right? So this is negative 5 sine 5x, and that's dy dx. Okay. Let's try the next one. Here, y equals, okay, pause the video and take your time. What will be the outside? What will be the inside? And this one looks a little different, right? But it's not that bad. Okay, so here, what's the outside? It's 4 cosine, parentheses. That'll be the outside, and this is our inside. So you remember how, like, if I said, hey, what's the derivative of, like, 4x, right? What's the derivative of 4x, right? It's just 4. Well, notice how when you take the derivative of this 4x, you're just really taking whatever the derivative of x is. And what's the derivative of x? It's 1. And then you multiply it by the 4. And that's kind of what you're doing here. Like here, don't look at the 4 first. What's the derivative of cosine? Negative sine. right? And then you're going to multiply that 4. Okay? And now here, oh, I messed it up. So it's 4 times negative sine of 9x times the derivative of what's on the inside, so parentheses 9x, and take the derivative of that. So this is 4 negative sine 9x times 9. And the idea here is we're going to do 4 times 9 is 36. And there's that negative symbol attached to the sign. So our final answer will be negative 36 sine 9x. And that is dy dx. Okay. Let's look at the next one, number 5. Okay. These should not be too bad. Okay. Try and do these on your own. Okay. Let's see, what's the outside, what's the inside? Here, y is equal to, the outside will be negative 2 sine, parentheses, and then negative 3x will be the inside, right? Okay, so now here, it's same idea before with the, how we're gonna ignore, how we ignored the 4 first, right? Let's ignore the negative 2 first. What's the derivative of sine? It's cosine, but we have this negative 2, right? So negative 2 times negative 3x times the derivative of negative 3x. Okay, so this is negative 2 times cosine of negative 3x times negative 3. And then here, negative 3 times negative 2 is 6 cosine of negative 3x. And that is dy dx. Okay. If you feel like I'm going very fast in the video, remember, pause the video, take your time, try and see every single move that's happening, right? Okay, number 6. What's the setup? 5 cosine. That's the outside. Negative 7x is on the inside. So here, what's dy dx? Here, what's the derivative of cosine? It's negative sine. And then we have that 5, right? So then negative 7x, that inside stays the same, times the derivative of what's on the inside, which is negative 7x. Okay? So 5 times the negative sine negative 7x times the derivative of negative 7x, which is negative 7. And then here, just put it all together. 7 times 5 is 35. But the negative times the negative, so this is positive 35 sine negative 7x. And this is dy dx. Okay. Okay, 2 more. Let's take a look at this. So you have negative cosine 3x. So y equals, our outside will be negative cosine, and the inside will be 3x. Okay. So here, dy dx. Well, what's the derivative of cosine? It's negative sine. And don't forget, we still have that negative symbol here. And this stays the same. What's on the inside, right? And then there's a parentheses 3x, and we're going to take the derivative of this. So notice that this just becomes, we'll just skip a step, but this will be sine of 3x times 3, right? We already distributed the negative, so this is positive. So then this just becomes 3 sine 3x, and this is dy dx. Okay? All right, 1 more. Number 8. Y equals, okay? What's the outside? What's the inside? There's negative 2 cosine, parentheses, parentheses, and negative x. Okay, so dy dx equals, what's the derivative of cosine? It's negative sine, and we still have this negative 2 on the outside, parentheses negative x, times the derivative of negative x. So this is negative 2, or we could just say, what's negative 2 times 2? Actually, no, we'll do that after, I'm sorry. But negative 2, negative sine, negative x, times negative 1. right? So here we have negative 2 times negative 1. So that's positive 2, negative sine negative x. But then we have to apply the negative to this, that's attached to the sine. So this is negative 2 sine of negative x. And that's dy dx. Okay, I hope this helped. What I want you to do is work on the delta math that's attached to this lesson. Okay, enjoy your day.